the Veterinary Financial Podcast, where we discuss financial freedom and whole life success. I'm Meredith Jones, an emergency vet in Virginia.
And I'm Phil Zeltzman, a board-certified small animal surgeon in Pennsylvania. We would like to thank our wonderful elite sponsors of both the Veterinary Financial Summit and this podcast, CareCredit, the popular third-party payment provider, and Televet, which is a platform to help veterinary professionals with scheduling, communication, and remote payments. So thank you, CareCredit and Televet.
Today we're going to talk about everything we have for you at the 2021 Veterinary Financial Summit, which we are hosting virtually on September 18th and 19th. We have some very exciting stuff planned, and we want to tell you more about it. This is the first of 2 bonus episodes. Today, we're going to talk about the Vet Financial Summit in general and what to expect on day 1, which will be September 18th, which is a Saturday. We have another bonus episode coming up in a couple of weeks where we'll be discussing what to expect on day 2 of the summit, so keep an eye out for that episode as well. For the full agenda, go to vetfinancialsummit.com. So I want to start by talking about just what the Veterinary Financial Summit is in general. And so we are the first and only financial conference dedicated to veterinary professionals, and we cover both personal finance, so that's anything from investing to student debt to entrepreneurship, as well as practice finance, practice management, and practice ownership topics.
The reason we started the Vet Financial Summit is because we are in different communities in the profession, and we compared notes and noticed that many of our colleagues, and of course it's all of the veterinary professionals, so that includes veterinarians, nurses, receptionists, managers, everybody is struggling for one reason or another with financial topics. It could be debt, it could be practice acquisition, it could be student loans, it could be a number of things, not to mention the personal stuff like mortgages and car loans. And there's no education that is comprehensive dedicated to us, so we thought, why not start a conference in a community? So that's how I was born a couple of years ago. So Meredith, how are we different from other conferences?
I'm so glad you asked that question, Phil. So we are, as a virtual conference, we are actually at 100% live. And so we don't have any pre-recorded sessions. Even though we are covering financial topics, which some people consider to be dry, at our conference, there are no boring speakers allowed. We're not just going to have you sitting there looking at PowerPoints all day. We have highly engaging speakers who are going to be covering these subjects, and we have different formats. So it's not just going to be presentations, it's also going to be workshops that are interactive. We're going to have question and answer sessions. We are going to have panel discussions, both just covering topics comprehensively as well as some debates, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit. And so you're going to learn a lot, and we're also going to have a lot of fun things too, which we'll talk about in more detail. So Phil, who should attend VFS? Who should attend the Vet Financial Summit?
Well, as we say all the time, it's for anybody who's interested in retiring before they turn 90. It's for colleagues who need help on the personal side to learn how to invest. It's for colleagues who are in practice or in a practice owner position or would like to be in a practice owner position. It's for managers and nurses and assistants and associates. It's definitely not only for practice owners. It's literally for anybody in the profession who's interested in learning and mingling with like-minded individuals. It's the only platform like this. As an example, last year, roughly 50% of the attendees were practice owners. The other half was a mixture of associates and nurses and managers and students. So it was a pretty diverse audience last year. Now, do you want to talk about the agenda?
Yes, we are going to be kicking off the summit with a keynote from Dr. Dave Nickel. He is going to be talking about how in the veterinary profession, business is booming, but people are breaking. And so what we're seeing out there right now with COVID and just the increased demand for veterinary services, we're seeing that most practices, while they have a lot of business, the employees, and that's anywhere from the practice owners themselves to the associate veterinarians to the support staff, a lot of people out there are unhappy with the way things are going as far as how sustainable the current practice situation is. And so Dave Nichols is going to be talking about ways that we can move forward and ways that we can make some improvements with veterinary medicine so that we can all sustain this as a career. And so, Phil, after the keynote presentation, I see this talk called "I Found the Secret to Happiness." What's that about?
Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm right after the amazing Dave Nichols. I'm going to have big shoes to fill. This is a session I decided to share because my entire recent life, I've looked at different ways to sort of look at life in general and, the different categories, because most of us wear multiple hats in practice, family-wise, hobbies, and so on and so forth. And most frameworks are too complicated for my brain. There's 10 different categories, or 7, or 6, or 5. And I found a really simple but very effective framework with only 4 categories, and that's what I'd like to go over. Now, at the exact same time is an amazing speaker. Do you want to talk about Amy Schneider?
Yes, Amy Schneider. She's a veterinarian. She is a professor at North Carolina State, and she really knows how to make practice finance topics engaging and really practical. And our attendees really loved her last year. So this year she's going to be talking about raising the bar on pricing in practice. And so, Phil, what is this great debate that's on our agenda?
Yeah, this is something new. We're trying this here. It basically involves 2 different speakers or panelists who will debate a specific topic. So we have 2 topics for that first slot. One is active versus passive real estate, and the other one is good debt versus bad debt. So 2 different panelists will share their thoughts about these topics in an engaging and lively way. Then we'll talk about practice as an investment. What is that about?
Yes, so we have a great panel discussion called "Could a Practice Become Your Smartest Investment?" And so we have amazing speakers for that panel discussion. We have Phil Richmond, who is a veterinarian and is certified in so many things we don't have time to cover. And we also have David McCormick, who is a veterinary practice valuation specialist. We also have Colin Hart, who is a veterinary practice real estate expert. And they're all going to be talking about the practice as an investment from various angles. And so talking about how team culture and wellness actually affects the value of the practice. And then also talking about real estate, which is something that you really don't hear about in most practice valuation discussions. And so, Phil, what if you're not a practice owner, or what if you're interested in starting another type of business?
Right. So again, we don't only cater to practice owners. So for those who might be interested in becoming an owner or to start a side gig, we're going to discuss 10 easy steps to start a business that literally applies to any concept of business. It can be online, it can be a mobile practice, and could be literally anything you're interested in. So we'll walk you through a framework step by step to launch your own little side gig. At the same time, we will have a very interesting discussion by a specialist. Her name is Ashley Metchike. She's a very, very lively and engaging speaker. And her topic is how to design a roadmap to exit your practice, which is something people talk about on and off. But her point is that you should not wait until the day you decide to retire to plan your exit. You should start way early. So even for wannabe practice owners or practice owners who are early in their tenure, this is a great talk for you to attend.
And then we have our famous midday quiz game. Phil, can you tell us more about that?
Oh, this is such a fun session. We had a lot of fun last year. It's basically a game of financial knowledge to some degree, but also wits and street smarts and speed above all. And the attendees were incredibly competitive last year. We had a lot of prizes last year. We'll have even more this year. So this is definitely going to be a fun session.
In the afternoon, we have our workshop sessions. And so we're going to kick off the afternoon with a couple of choices for workshops, either student debt or travel hacking. And so Megan Landris from Student Loan Planner, she is a certified student loan professional. She's going to be talking about student debt and the most common mistakes that veterinary professionals and others are making with their student debt. And she's really going to get into some of the nuances and cover more than what you've seen in a typical student debt lecture. So we're very excited for that. For our travel hacking workshop, we have Cindy Trice from Relief Rover and Elliot Garber, who has traveled all over the world doing cool vet med stuff. So we are excited about having two veterinarians join us to talk about how they have saved money on travel and using credit card points and using airline miles and a lot of cool tricks to be able to get the most bang for your buck with travel. And then after that, we have our meetups. The meetups are a time where you can get to know your fellow attendees. So we have 3 different meetups that are going to be going on at the same time. We have the Money Nerds Mingle, or M&M meetup. And then we also have the Practice Leadership meetup. And so that's going to cater toward practice owners, medical directors, managers, others who are in leadership positions or want to be in leadership positions. And the Mastermind meetup as well. Phil, can you tell us more about the Mastermind?
Sure. So this is, again, something new we're launching this year. The idea is to create a small group of colleagues who are interested in reaching goals. I belong to Masterminds. I think it's the best thing ever. A key point of a mastermind is the accountability. And I can tell you for a fact that without accountability, I wouldn't be where I am in my life. It's what helps me achieve goals because I'm accountable to somebody and somebody else is accountable to me. And that's really the secret ingredients to reach goals. So we'll have a meetup dedicated to this at the same time. And then we'll go into our breakout sessions. These are private Zoom rooms where our partners will present different topics or you can answer questions directly to them. And then we'll resume our workshops.
So the investing workshops on Saturday afternoon, that is a time where Phil and I will be leading discussions with financial advisors to get the information that you need based on common questions that we've received. And then they're also going to be there live, of course, answering your questions during the session. And so we have 2 investing workshops going on at the same time, so you can choose which one applies to you most. We're going to have investing basics for true beginners. And so we're going to be starting from the very beginning for attendees who are newbies to investing. And when I say investing, I'm talking about retirement as well. So all kinds of different investing topics.
And then at the same time, we'll have a workshop called Investing Nuggets for the Seasoned Investor. So this will be for attendees who have at least a few years worth of experience in different facets of investing. And we'll talk about more advanced strategies, both on the traditional side, meaning stocks, bonds, mutual funds, as well as what's called alternative investing, which mostly includes real estate. After that, we will have a speaker roundtable. So this is a great opportunity to interact with our speakers. It's a rare opportunity that we wanted to provide. Sometimes it's hard to access speakers. We will put them in a virtual room where you'll be able to interact with them directly. And then we will end the day with a grand finale. Again, this year, we are the only conference in the universe that has a movie. So movie night this year will be about The Big Short, which is the true story of a small group of investors who came out with a lot of money after the crisis, the real estate crisis of 2008. So this will be a great way to end a productive day before we start our second day on Sunday, the 19th.
Yes, I'm excited for movie night. Everybody can grab the popcorn and gather around and talk about The Big Short. Thank you so much for listening to our very first bonus episode on the Veterinary Financial Podcast. We hope to see you at the Veterinary Financial Summit on September 18th and 19th. Go to vetfinancialsummit.com to learn more and register for the summit. Phil and I really believe better education is the first step toward financial wellness and ultimately financial freedom. Until next time, take care and continue your path to financial success.